Leaks. Can't have oil leaks. This oil pan's leaking. How many bolts? A lot of people say you can't get these out, so I don't know what they're talking about. It looks like we can do it. Oh gosh, you got... Whew, how'd you get over there? Well, this MGA oil pan needs to come off. It's leaking in the back because whoever put it on left a couple bolts loose. Oh, that was me. Let's see if we can get it off. A little 1600 engine here before we get too much farther and having it run and stuff and still leaking oil. I kind of figured it'd fix itself, but I don't think so. All right, glad you're here. Thanks for scaring the crap out of me. Welcome back, Junk's Automotive. Get under here. I could use a hand. Tools maybe. Well, it was a bad choice of a weekend probably to lay underneath a car for a couple hours. Was at my mom's and ate a bunch of dinner. So, you know, figured the best thing to do is drain the oil, which we're gonna have to anyway. And the other good side of it is this engine had sat for 50 plus years after it was rebuilt. We cleaned it out best we could and ran it, so we can make sure there's not mud dauber nests and like they were all inside the engine, so we can make sure we don't have coolant, dirt and stuff that we flushed out. So that oil looks brand new. Then I'll start the buzzy. Put the, I think they're 7/16. Yep. And these gaskets are really super thin. I tried finding a thicker, maybe a metal lined silicone one or a, you know, rubber one or a thick cork one, but nothing like that. So I bought another thin one, and I'm going to use a little rubber insurance. I don't like doing that, but I don't want to do this again. Like I said, the bolts were loose, like 2. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, we'll get her all undone and save you some of the trouble of watching me suffer. You know, get her out of here, see what we got. Yep. Well, don't you know, it didn't go like I thought. The front 2, actually the front 4 bolts, there's 2 on the sides. You can just barely get them out. The front 2, it ain't happening. So I'm taking the motor mount bolts loose so I can jack the motor up and get just a little bit of something to get this guy's fat fingers in there. And in my ultimate wisdom, when I put these motor mount bolts in, I put red Loctite on them. But hey, they weren't coming loose. Golly. Why would... Then you can't get to them. Now that the engine's in the car, and you can't... Yeah, I don't know about working on these little bitty cars like this. You know, I mean, how do you guys work on these things? Well, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts to get out, and it's got 8, 4 on each side. So I'll get them out. I'll put a piece of, jack the engine up, put a piece of 2x4 on each side, or underneath the crank maybe, just to hold it up. I think I could probably put it underneath the crank. I don't know. Just some random block of wood. Geez, always something. So you can see right there, that's where the bell housing goes together. Used the jack and a piece of wood and just jacked her up. It actually went up against the firewall just enough that I could wedge a couple aftermarket 1957 Chevrolet rear spring shackles and a rear spring shackle bolt. And since they're made the way they are, they just kind of wedge and stop. So they give me about that much room to get in there and get them bolts out. There's 3 of them. Man, if I had ever got them out, I'd have never got them started because I could barely get one finger on. You know, beep, 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 beep. If I get this last bolt hanging, probably not. All right. That's the kind of stuff I love to do. Decided here the next year or two I'm building a new shop. Somehow or another. I guess you'll be watching me the whole summer how to build a shop. I don't know. Not sure how I'm going to do it. Not sure how I'm going to pay for it. This kind of stuff's for the birds. I want to lift. I ain't got room for a lift in here. This building's ready to fall down. It's raining cats and kittens. Could blow this barn over right on top of me. Well, no, we'll figure something out. I just barely get 2 fingers on that front one. The right hand don't work so good no more. I got Arthur. Let's see if it comes out here. All right. Ooh. Looks good so far. All right. Let's get it drug out, see what it looks like. Well, I'm gonna say it's probably a good thing we had to pull this off anyhow. With a lot of that motor crap and crud that from sitting for 50 years is washed down. And that's dirt. So we needed a good old flush job the hard way anyhow. I don't know what the white stuff is. Looks like white something. Like I says, this engine was rebuilt. It definitely was by, I'll try to find the video and put it somewhere where we had this apart, looking at it. Just took the pan off, valve cover, the intake and exhaust ports on the head were had mud dauber nest in them, so I flipped it upside down and sucked it out with a vacuum, and it ran good. Had great oil pressure, so I'm not too worried about it. It's just probably a good thing we had to pull this off anyway. All that stuff washed down in the, in the pan. So we'll get this cleaned up. We'll look for metal chunks, but I sure don't see any yet. There's a little bit of, seemed like a little bit of condensation. Yeah, it's dirt. I can rub it and like chunks of rust probably coming out. It'll be fine. You'll see. Got her all swabbed out, cleaned up, ran the magnet through it, looking for money, but I didn't see any. So I think we're good. It was just a brown kind of dirt colored, stuff. So it's a good thing. We'll get it back together before we run it. We'll change the filter, put some good break-in oil in it, and have it so we can run it enough and do all that good stuff. The valve cover is going to have to come off, but I'm going to wait because it leaks too. But I've got the bolts in it, so it's not my fault. Because we want to run it, get some wear and tear on it a little bit, and then go through and check the valve adjustments. But we got to make this right now. So let's get underneath here. We'll look at the gasket and see if we can see where it was leaking. And I know it was leaking back here, but I want to see evidence of. Don't look too bad. I can see the camshaft. I can see all the lobes pretty much, and nothing's really looking bad. I don't see any heat marks or anything like that. I just think it's rusty stuff that's come out from where it had sat for so long. Like on that cap, you can see the rust right there on it. But back here is where it was leaking, and I'm not seeing, you know, I see a good steady line, except for maybe right there. I don't know. We'll have to look. Maybe there's an imperfection somewhere. But like I said, we're gonna make sure this is sealed up. I'm not doing this again. These don't have a rear main seal. What they have is an oil slinger, and I bet it's between that main cap and the flange that the flywheel bolts to, and it's supposed to blow oil away from the rear of the block. So you know, looks to me, yeah, see, it's leaking right through there. So it's had to have been the oil pan. All right. Oh, nothing in the screen. So I think we're fine. We just got a little engine flush going on, that's all. No biggie. All right, I think I figured out why this is leaking back here. Remember me telling you there's an oil slinger inside here. Well, see this little passage, this little gap right there. I had RTV'd that, which is fine because this is the main cap, and there's a gap right here, not a gap, but a joint. So I was concerned about that leaking. So what happened was, since I RTV'd it, I used too much, and it blocked this little cap passage, and this little hole right here was blocked up. So the thing is while it's running, it's got to get air. Since it's like a oil slinger, it's almost like a fan in a way that's blowing this way. Well, if that's blocked up, it can't blow that way. So what was happening was oil was coming out through the main seal area, if there was a main seal, because it didn't have the air. The airway was blocked, and it didn't have enough air to blow that way and keep the oil away from that passage. So I don't think it was leaking right there. It was leaking from where there would be a main seal, but this doesn't have a main seal. See, this is open to this is your draft tube. There's no PVC system or anything. So it's blowing air, and you got compression and blow by, and all that's coming out here. So I think that's what was going on. I don't know, maybe. I'm probably wrong. I don't know. But that was full of RTV. So we got it cleaned out. I got to make sure that I don't do that again, and hopefully no more problems. Now I got the gasket all, well, except for that spot right there. Get it all cleaned up, get it dried up so we can put her back together. Ultra Black, Permatex. Man, this stuff has come so far in the last 30 years. We used to use it, and it was either clear or was blue, and it wasn't worth a crap. You buy some of this Ultra Black or the Ultra Gray, and you let it set up, it's not gonna leak unless you plug stuff up with it. Right. So I'm just gonna do a smooth little coat all the way around, right on the ridge. This is a little sealing surface right here, and I'm just gonna smooth it out with my finger, nice and thin. Put the gasket on here, and then another real skim coat with my finger on top of the gasket. This thing, it's going to be a mess if I have to take it apart again, but hopefully this is, just nice and not too much back here. Nope. Getting too old for this floor crap. I get a bolt started, that'd be awesome. There we go. I can get 5 or 6 started, or even if I get them just finger tight, hold it up there real good. The shorter ones go in, I believe, in the holes that are blind, that don't go all the way through. The ones on the sides go all the way through. Most of them are pretty short, but if I have a longer one, I make sure I put it on the sides. That way I don't blow a hole in the block or a main cap in the back here or something. This thing's pretty clean underneath. Somebody must have painted it all. Now let's jack this thing back up so we can get our little shimmage out. There's that one. There's that one. And find some bolts. I got new hardware. I don't know why somebody would Loctite them. Oh wait, that was me. I'll just let her down a little bit, see if I can get try to get one side in. A little different with a floor jack than a dang cherry picker. All right. A little bit more. You'd think it'd just sit there where it's supposed to, but it being the mounts are rubber, it doesn't really work that way. One more bolt. Tighten them up, zippy, 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 we're done. But we'll see. There we go. Got her all bolted in. There's 2 more bolts on the back side of each one. It's, you know, way, you can't see it. It's down there. Took the fan off because, well, these MGAs apparently have a yellow fan. Caution yellow, not silver. I'm sure some of you guys that know that just cringe every time. You're probably thinking, that poor dumb guy don't know. Oh, now I did want to make sure I showed you. See how close that is? Now that bolt you can get out. That one you can't. There's another one in there. You can barely see it. You can't. The pictures don't do it justice, but there's just no room. Now you can wrench the end ones, but the 3 in the middle, let's see here. There we go. You just can't get to them. The rack and pins in the way in the front. You can't really get nothing in there, and you can't really get a wrench on it because of the way the pan's shaped around that flange, right? But there's that little gap I was talking about. I seem to have put no RTV in it this time, so hopefully it'll not do the same thing again. I guess I can let my jack down, huh? All right. Well, it's still only 12:30 a.m. So we can do a couple of little things just real quick. We can do a happy dance now because this is done. I was dreading this. Oh. The last video on this car, I made a shim for this, a thicker shim out of aluminum, painted it black, put it in there. I found a couple Phillips that were the right thread and just the right length, and you know, pretty fair. Pretty much the same on both sides. The trunk, I went ahead and put in my piece of weather strip in there. That's all done. I don't know. I think we got to clean this up, put some black carpeting in it, Ralph. So yeah. And I did take and put the weather strip inside here, the smaller stuff, and actually I trimmed it. This is what it looks like normally. So I trimmed the whole side out of it, so that way it just smashes. It doesn't hold the hood up, but it does help my funny gap in the back look quite a bit better. Kind of camouflage it. Camo, yeah, you know what I mean. All right. Well, we're not that far from having this thing done, really. And you think about it, it's a little overwhelming. Well, more to me, but it's not far. I think next week we'll kind of place our wiring harness in place so we know where everything's at. I got a fuel line somewhere. We'll start getting that laid into place. Let's see if we can buy some brake lines. Yeah, we need to start. It's the mechanical stuff now, right now, and get carburetor kits, gasket kits. I just want to re-gasket them. They're good. They're ready to go. Get that all put together. Now that the oil pan is fixed, I know I don't have to pull the engine out or anything like that, so we can start throwing stuff on it. Got a generator to go through. I know, I appreciate you guys hanging through this tedious, boring stuff. I realize it's boring. I can't help but do what I got to do. Come springtime, this will be gone. Gone. Ralph will be enjoying it. Good. Done deal. We'll work on the 57 Chevrolet. I'm working on a couple other projects that will stick in the middle, and old junk box can make a little bit of money to put in that 57 Chevrolet, right? Maybe a 70, 71 Dodge Demon. Needs some body work, so we'll do some patching on that, do a little bit of that. And I'm working on another special treat for when the warmer's nicer, because you got to work on stuff outside. And maybe try to drive it home. But we'll see how it goes. Hey, I really appreciate you guys watching. We're at 2,900. I'd love to, by the end of the year, be at 3,000 subscribers. It's a silly number, I know. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it makes me feel good. So spread the word. Hey, and next week, hopefully, here in the next couple weeks, we're going to have a special surprise that you guys are just gonna you're gonna love it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be good. So, cheers. Peace, guys. Take care of yourself, and remember, if it was easy, everybody would do it. See you guys next week. Oh, my knee hurts. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying.